Oh, hello. Many Magic the Gathering players ask the question, what is the best new card for Commander from Magic the Gathering's Marvel's Spider-Man, our newest set? Well, the number one pick for the best new card for your Commander 99 is overwhelmingly the Terminus of Return, one of the most powerful cards, not just of this set, but any set for Commander. The Terminus of Return is an indestructible legendary artifact for 1 and a black that can tap to add black mana. In addition to being an untapped indestructible mana rock, for just 6 and a black, you can tap and exile a creature you control to harness the Terminus of Return. Harnessing the Terminus unlocks its origin ability. At the beginning of your upkeep, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. OMG! Stapling an incredibly good effect onto a 2-mana indestructible mana rock makes this just as much an auto-include as Arcane Signet and Soul Ring if you're in a black commander deck. Honestly, you are literally at a disadvantage by not having this in your black decks going forward. Got nothing better to do for 7 mana? Just activate the indestructible mana rock you've had sitting on your field since turn 2. You can return your Shieldred before you draw, a Wormcoil Engine that was sacrificed, or even a Valagoth that was buried alive. A mana rock with late game potential is incredible. Everyone at the table better be running Farewell, because a Vandal Blast just isn't gonna cut it anymore. This card is bold. This card is powerful. This card goes in every black commander deck, and it is one of the best new cards for the 99 from Magic's newest set. What's more, What? What do you mean it's not available in paper? Are you for cereal? Well, then what is? Oh, it's the Soul Stone. Okay, so we all have to run the Soul Stone now. Well, at least we have choices in paper. We can run the Thanos version or just the Spider-Man version of the Soul Stone. All black commander decks now run the Soul Stone. I mean, if you were to ask me, which you didn't, but you clicked on the video, so I'd say I prefer to run the Terminus version, the Magic the Gathering version in my Magic the Gathering deck, but it is digital only. If only there were some way, some possibility for them to print this card in paper, print this card in paper, print the card, but such an option does not exist. I'm just joking, of course, for legal reasons. Whether you love Spider-Man or feel dead inside, there are many great card designs that will be perfect for the 99 of your commander decks. In this video, I have picked the top 7 cards that are not the Soul Stone that I'm most excited to pick up as singles. Need I even say it at this point? Booster packs are for draft. Well, maybe not Spider-Man booster packs, but other booster packs are for draft. So it's even more true for this set than others that if there are cool and awesome cards that you want to pick up for Commander, don't buy packs, just buy the singles you want for the decks you want to play. Or, just buy my TCC shirt that I'm wearing, because for a limited time only, I am celebrating 1.2 million subscribers and the 10-year anniversary of our original Tolarian Community College t-shirt logo design with our new back-to-school line of TCC shirts, hoodie, pins, and even stickers. This new take on the classic Tolarian Community College logo looks incredible in mystic gray and green dragon scale design. We also have this incredible gold leaf emblazoned hoodie, perfect for those chilly winter Tolarian mornings, and our alternate tee of the Tolarian dragon defending our campus. Every single order of $75 or more gets a free set of stickers! These are great for affixing to your binders or water bottles and showing off your community college pride. We also have a collection of Tolarian pins available, beautiful snippets of campus pride made from high-quality metal and enamel designs. All of this is available for a limited time at tcc.store. That's tcc.store. Not a sponsor, 'cause it's me! And now, without further ado nor further shilling, let's get to the list. With great cards comes great responsibility to run those cards in your commander decks. First up, I have an honorable mention for a card that maybe isn't as powerful as the rest on this list, but is sure to make you really popular around the table. Cheering Crowd is a 2/2 human citizen for 1 generic and a hybrid Gruul mana that reads, at the beginning of each player's first main phase, that player may put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. If they do, they add a colorless mana for each counter on it. The applications for Cheering Crowd are pretty clear-cut. Everyone at the table gets to make use of the mana, but those who make use of the mana later get more out of it than those who make use of it earlier. Best case scenario, by the time it gets back to you at the end of the first turn cycle in play, Cheering Crowd will be a 6/6 that nets you 4 colorless mana. I really like this card, but it is ultimately just an honorable mention slot. It has the potential to make big mana, sure, if the pod goes for the May ability, or they use the mana and remove it on the spot. Cheering Crowd accelerates the game, but ultimately it's just a fun social card for a pod, and not a game-breaking one. Nonetheless, I really wanted to shout it out because I think it is a fun and interesting card, but let's get on to juicier picks. Next up, we have a powerful and flexible mass blink spell that many blue Magic players will love. Hide on the Ceiling is an instant for 1 blue and X generic mana that reads, exile X target artifacts and/or creatures. Return the exiled cards to the battlefield under their owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. There are so many ways to use this powerful card to great effect. You can use it on offense, clearing away the blockers of an opponent or multiple opponents to set up a massive attack. Or you can use it on defense, blinking away a massive attacking force that would otherwise spell the end for you. Imagine hitting an opponent's entire board of creatures after they landed a Craterhoof Behemoth. You can also use it politically, clearing away opposing blockers so a different opponent can come in and make a sizable hit. Or you can use it selectively, clearing only those creatures that are attacking you, and those that could block any creatures attacking an opponent. Blue rarely receives blink effects and has never received a mass blink effect before this. And just one look at its casting cost shows that WotC Design did not want to make this card cheap. The absolute best way to navigate around the absurd cost of blinking your entire board brings with it a Hinata Dawn Crowned. Spend a single blue mana to target as many creatures as you like with Hide on the Ceiling, and reap those ETB rewards. You hide on the ceiling, and you hide on the ceiling, and you hide on the ceiling. Do you remember that? Do you remember that reference? It was Oprah. Everyone hide on the ceiling. I liked the GIF where it was bees. I also say GIF really, but I'm tired of people yelling at me about it. But remember when it was bees? When Oprah, bees! That was funny. Oh, and then there's the Tom Cruise and she's like zapping him with lightning. Do you remember that one? Those should be Magic cards now. Why aren't those Magic cards? Okay, next up is a powerful card that is going to become a fast auto-include in many Commander decks. Web of Life and Destiny is a massive 8-mana green enchantment with Convoke that reads, at the beginning of combat on your turn, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a creature card from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. This is a huge and splashy effect, and it's very easy to let your imagination run wild with all the possibilities for big boys to drop into play for free. You know, little-known cards like Atali, or the very off-the-radar Blightsteel Colossus. Remember, this card requires 8 mana in order for you to play it. I don't know if you know this, but 8 is a lot of mana for a Magic card, and if you're spending 8 mana on putting the Web of Life and Destiny into play, then any discount you'd get from putting a big creature into play is diminished significantly by the cost you spent to play the Web of Life and Destiny. But Web of Life and Destiny has Convoke, so you'll never be spending 8 mana on this spell. In fact, if you have the right board state, you might spend as little as 0 mana to cast this. Wow. If you do that, all of a sudden the mana discounts you get on the creatures you put into play are going to pay huge dividends. Thank you for your service, my 801 plant tokens. But I would like an Ulamog now. This card is a great addition to any deck that already wanted to shove big creatures onto the battlefield, but does not benefit from being a build-around card. It doesn't require top deck manipulation because it goes 5 cards deep all on its own, and gives you an immediate return on investment since it activates the start of combat. Paired with a haste enabler, you could even start swinging with any creature you find each turn. Don't change your deck one bit, just shove this bad boy right in. We've got another big enchantment for you at the number 4 slot, a wonderful card named after how I feel each and every day as a Magic the Gathering YouTuber or influencer. Imposter Syndrome is a 6-mana blue enchantment that depicts the popular internet meme, Spider-Man points at Spider-Man. Yes, even I, the professor, know about Spider-Man points at Spider-Man. And you know, I'm actually surprised we didn't get a magic card called, But I Don't Want to Cure Cancer. Anyway, back to Imposter Syndrome. Whenever a non-token creature you control deals combat damage to a player, create a token that's a copy of it, except it isn't legendary. My oh my, can this thing positively pop off in the mid to late game. It doesn't have any of that one or more creatures nonsense, nor anything else that would prevent this from triggering off of every single creature dealing combat damage. Every single one! The only thing preventing Imposter Syndrome from exploding your board to exponential heights is the inclusion of the word non-token in the text box. In other words, the clones you make of your creatures won't themselves spawn additional clones. But you can still copy legendary creatures, and any creature with a great ETB will be more than happy to pop out an identical token sibling. The biggest downside of this card is you have to deal combat damage, but you're playing Commander. There are 3 players to swing at, so that downside is not actually too much of a downside. Mole Drifter, Snapcaster Mage, or even something as big as Kappa Cannoneer copied just like that. And those are just mono-blue creatures. Imagine doubling your Tivits, Yuriko, or even your Kaito, Bane of Nightmares, who just happens to be a creature during your turn. Imposter Syndrome is the type of card that's at its best in decks of lower brackets. It's also at its best in decks of higher brackets. Alright, I'm gonna be honest with you, this is great in any deck. Powerful, splashy, and a ton of fun, and most importantly, it encourages blue players to do something other than sit back and counter every single spell that hits the stack. What's not to love? In the years since the Commander Discord of White Sucks reached its fever pitch, thanks in no small part to outrage farming YouTubers, I mean concerned Commander players, White has actually received many powerful enchantments for the format. In addition to Smothering Tithe, we have cards like Trouble in Pairs, Monologue Tax, and so many, many, many more. The next card on the list is the latest in this fine White Commander playable lineage. Rent is Due, cleverly previewed on the 1st of the month. A 1-mana white enchantment that reads, at the beginning of your end step, you may tap 2 untapped creatures or treasures. If you do, draw a card. If you don't, then sacrifice this enchantment. Rent is Due is a great card draw engine for white creature decks. It's essentially like paying rent to be the Monarch, except without the possibility of losing it through combat. Can you imagine the Monarch paying rent? What a world that would be. Unlike many of the other white enchantments I named at the top of this section, Rent is Due doesn't interfere with or punish your opponent's game plans at all. If anything, it's interfering with your own game plan, as the price you have to pay to keep paying rent is not insignificant. Tapping down 2 creatures or treasures is a real cost to have to pay turn after turn, and your opponents can even 2-for-1 you if you only leave 2 creatures back to tap on your end step. If they cast a removal spell on one of those 2 creatures in response to the Rent is Due trigger, you can say goodbye to both the creature you lost and your card draw engine. Tapping to Rent is Due is a great way to use powerful guys you don't want to risk in combat on either offense or defense, like an Esper Sentinel, Soul Warden, or Dark Confidant. All those downsides aside, though, this is still a very good card. It costs only 1 mana to start, and white decks often have plenty of disposable creatures around that they don't mind tapping to Rent is Due. These don't have to be dinky little tokens either. For a dorky little enchantment that you can get going early, I'd say Rent is Due is worth the price you pay to keep paying rent. I guess the flavor on this card is a little wonky, but hey, that's Spider-Man for you. I guess the idea is that having to sacrifice your Rent is Due is like getting evicted, right? I don't really know. Don't think about the real-world implications of the card. Just put it in your deck. Put it in your deck. Pick it up and put it in your deck. So what are the top 2 best new cards from Spider-Man for the 99 of your Commander decks? Well, next up we have another engine-style enchantment, this time in red. Shadow of the Goblin costs 1 and a red and has 2 abilities. The first is that at the beginning of your first main phase, discard a card. If you do, draw a card. The second reads, whenever you play a land or cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, this enchantment does 1 damage to each opponent. On its face, this card is intended as an enabler and payoff to all the Mayhem cards in Spider-Man. Mayhem is a new take on the Madness mechanic, allowing you to cast spells from your yard for their Mayhem cost if they were discarded this turn. And certainly in those decks, such as one piloted by the Green Goblin Norman Osborn himself, Shadow of the Goblin will really shine. But you don't only have to run this card in Mayhem decks. Shadow of the Goblin is a fantastic card in any deck with graveyard synergies or discard synergies, and really any deck that often casts spells from outside of the hand. That includes the command zone, by the way. It's a Windmill Slam include in a mono-red Inti Senchal of the Sun deck, for instance. Both the discard mode and the pinging from casting cards from exile are fantastic in that deck. Decks like Chainer, Nightmare Adept, and Kess, Dissident Mage, will appreciate both the discard value and the pinging when they cast spells from the yard. Bergi, God of Storytelling's flip side, also pairs well with Shadow of the Goblin. And on and on and on, but even decks that don't have explicit graveyard synergy might like running Shadow of the Goblin in their 99. Grenzo, Havoc Razor, for instance, is capable of pinging your opponents for a ton of damage once you've assembled a board full of creatures to trigger its combat damage ability. One little ping here and there might not seem like much, but this is the kind of card your opponents won't think about too much until suddenly they find themselves down to 10 or 15 life. Then, suddenly, every point you ping them for will really, really matter. And if your deck is set up to easily trigger that second ability on Shadow of the Goblin, your opponents will be in for some serious pain. Go on, take the mask. Take it. Is that a reference to something? I don't know, it just says that there. Spider-Man! So what is the number 1 best card for the 99 of your commander decks? It's the Soul Stone, but we're ignoring that. And in fact, my number 1 pick for this set, and I swear it isn't my bias, but it's my preview card that they gave me. I can't believe they even gave me a preview card for Spider-Man, but they did, and I think it's the best new card for the Commander 99. Peter Parker's Camera is an artifact for 1 generic mana. It enters with 3 film counters. You know film counters, the classic Magic the Gathering counter type. Well, Peter Parker's Camera enters with 3 of those. If you want to take a picture with Peter Parker's Camera, well, simply pay 2 mana and tap the artifact. Remove a film counter and voila! You've copied target, activated, or triggered ability. You can even choose new targets for it if you'd like. Isn't that neat? Hey, maybe you can sell the copy of your ability to a local newspaper to help you pay your rent. Just a thought. Peter Parker's Camera is an awesome card. At just 1 generic mana, it can come down early and be used to snap copies of pretty much any beneficial ability you would want more of. Need mana ramp? Copy a fetch land ability. You can copy planeswalker abilities and creature ETBs, and even something as game-ending and evil as a storm trigger. Storm count is at 10, you say? Well, what if I got 10 copies of this spell twice? Yes, that is how this card works. At 1 generic mana, you can tutor for Peter Parker's Camera off of Urza's Saga, or if you have it in play already, you can use it to tutor for 2 artifacts off of Urza's Saga's 3rd chapter. You only get 3 uses of Peter Parker's Camera before it runs out of film, but you can get extra film by pairing Peter Parker's Camera with Proliferate strategies. Hey, you can even use Peter Parker's Camera to copy, say, a Thrumming Bird Proliferate trigger, proliferating twice and adding 2 additional film counters to Peter Parker's Camera. Snap! Not only is this card good with all the cards that we've mentioned in this section, but it's good with almost every card in this video. Heck, go back and watch our last 3 top cards for Commander videos, and this card is good with any of those cards. And that's why it's our number 1 pick. Can't wait to play with it on Magic the Gathering Arena. I'm just kidding. You can't even play Commander on Arena. And you never ever will be able to. But those are, of course, just my picks, and now I want to hear from you. Which cards from Magic the Gathering Marvel's The Spider-Man are you most excited to put in your Commander deck? Do you disagree with any of my picks? Let me know in the comments below. And remember to go to tcc.merch, where for a limited time only you can pick up these brand new celebratory Tolarian Community College tees, hoodie, stickers, pins, beanies, and so much more. tcc.merch, not a sponsor, 'cause it's me, the professor of Tolarian Community College. You like the professor, right? Well, then buy my t-shirt at tcc.merch. Thanks for watching.
Next time on Shuffle Up and Play.
What's up? It's Shuffle Up and Play, and today we have balanced our decks against a medium deck.
Mid? Do they call it? I think the kids call it mid.
But okay, off.
Your deck was bonkers crazy powerful.
They replaced a couple cards.
And how many was that?
20? 20! I have a really easy turn one, a Gloom Lake Verge land.
Draw for turn.
And then I'm going to draw for turn.
This is what I assume your lives are usually like. As influencers.
You're an influencer.
You're an influencer.
I want to tell you this. That's what you do.
Death Cap Glade.
That a no cap? What's the, it's cap? Yeah, cap. Cap.
I want to attack, but I don't think anybody's naked. You got a 4/4 froggy.
Can be naked.
What? Is this a common vibe?
Sometimes I say things and I don't know why.